Hello, Bitget fam. I am so excited to have you here. My name is CH, and welcome to our YouTube live stream. I'll get to that in a moment, but it is on the topic of something that we are all very, very excited about in the crypto world. Of course, that being the spot Bitcoin ETF approval. So, cannot wait to dive into that. We have an amazing guest coming up. But before we get into all that, I do want to say, a warm welcome from wherever you're watching us or listening from. We are cross streaming this content right now across, of course, YouTube, Twitter, aka X, and Instagram. And this is the first time we're doing this, so we really hope you enjoy wherever you're joining us from. With that being said, we are giving a massive amount of money away, 300 USDT, but you're only eligible to win this money if you go on our YouTube stream and you go down to the description. There is a Gleam link, and you follow those instructions. You make some comments in the chat box, and then you'll be eligible to win. So, folks, if you are listening from Twitter, aka X, Instagram, do hop over to YouTube so you are eligible to win that money. Okay, without further ado, I want to get that out of the way. So excited for you guys to join us. Our guest today is Full Value Dan. Okay, his channel is down in the description as well. Dan, so good to have you here.
Hi, thanks for letting me join in the live stream and to talk about the Bitcoin spot ETF.
And many other topics for sure.
And other topics, yeah. Thanks. There's a lot of people here. Hope everyone has liked the video. They're joining the chat. And if you don't know me, I make YouTube content. I'm just a regular person who is learning about cryptocurrency. I'm sharing what I've learned and my experiences. I try not to give any financial advice, but a very level-headed review of everything I can find out about a particular project. Now, I've been making content for several years, and you could subscribe if you want. Links are in the description. But I think everyone is excited to get this chat going and potentially win some USDT.
Yes, Dan, I love that so much. Thank you so much for taking the time and joining us. I do see a lot of you in the chat going crazy. We always love to hear from you, Bitget fam. So please let us know where you're listening from. Let us know your thoughts about the Bitcoin ETF. If you guys think it's going to be approved this week, delayed, rejected, whatever thoughts you guys have, let us know. We're really curious to see what you guys think. Okay, so Dan, to start, of course, the deadline for the SEC to approve the first wave of the spot Bitcoin ETF is set for January 10th, which is this Wednesday coming up. So why do you think a spot Bitcoin ETF will have such a large impact on the industry, and what will it mean for the crypto market?
Great question. What do you think? right. I have some answers there. Just trying to throw you off there. Yeah, just like if the spot Bitcoin ETF does happen, that just allows a lot of traditional investors in the stock market to get exposure to Bitcoin. That's people's 401ks. That's just everyone that is already investing in the stock market. And when the gold ETF launched, it was an easier way for people to invest in gold rather than holding it and securing it, and it gave more people access to that asset. And the same thing is predicted to happen to Bitcoin. Now, as for it being approved this Wednesday, I think it's due. I think it's going to happen. They've been delaying it for a long time. People are asking a lot of questions about it. There's a big spotlight on the SEC. So if they don't approve it and they don't have a good reason, people are going to really go after them, and they're going to need a good reason why it isn't approved. Like, imagine if you went to work and you were the guy approving this Bitcoin ETF, and you just keep delaying it month after month after month just because you just haven't been doing your job. So that's the situation they're in. The pressure is on, and they don't really have a lot of reasoning not to approve it.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You brought up a really good point. I think, of course, the U.S. is such a massive market. It is the biggest financial market in the world, and so this will have massive implications for the asset class itself. Like you said, it's all about convenience, right? And so the ETF will really bring this convenience, especially to the older generation, like the baby boomers.
Yeah.
Who all they have to do now is literally just go to the brokerage account that they're already for the longest time, and they just all got to hit is invest, boom, done. I'm in the asset. I got exposure now. So instead of them having to deal with all this crazy on ramp, off ramp type endeavors that they really have no idea how to wrap their head around. So
Right.
convenience is very, very, very important.
Yeah, they don't have to deal with seed phrases, pass keys, all the complications of getting involved in Bitcoin and securing your cryptocurrency safely.
Yeah, absolutely right. So, like I said, the US being the largest financial market in the world, actually, did you know that there are already a bunch of other ETFs, spot Bitcoin ETFs, already around the world? Actually, to be precise, there are already around 150 crypto ETF products around the world. What that has an AUM, or asset under management, of $50 billion. So it's not really small. So why will the US approved ETF products be such a game changer, in your opinion?
Just because there's a lot of money in the US market. So once that has full access, all these funds are going to want to make some money off selling Bitcoin to their clients. So they're going to be pushing them to like, hey, get a little exposure to this. It's been performing really well. There's no reason to really not get into it, just to have that 1% exposure in their portfolio to it.
Yes, absolutely. And the ETF market is in the tens of trillions. I believe it's $20 trillion. And so now that Bitcoin it has the ETF product, you have all these literally the best salesmen, financial salesmen in the
Mhm.
world now incentivized to start pushing out this product. I mean, you can already see there's a bunch of commercials
Oh,
that have
yeah.
already been presented from different funds, really trying to attract these investors who come in and invest with them, because now they can actually make money off of this. Before they had no idea how to make money off Bitcoin, but now they can.
Absolutely. I'm actually most excited for Van X. Like that's who I'm going to promote to my parents, just people who aren't involved in the crypto scene if they want to get exposure to Bitcoin. Because Van Eck, their ticker is going to be HODL, so easy to remember.
Oh, that's
And,
amazing.
yeah, and 5% of their revenue, their profits, they are going to donate to the Bitcoin Core team. So I really like that. It's really encouraging that they are being a part of the community, and I don't think I've seen that in any of the other funds.
Yes, I agree. Vanek definitely is at the top of my list as well. I actually see them just provide fantastic reports and analysis on the markets. A lot of the stuff that I read, actually, a lot of it comes from them. They're really bullish, of course, on digital assets as a whole. They have whole reports on Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, actually really big deep dives. So I'm definitely a fan of theirs. But I think, of course, if you're talking about ETFs, we cannot not talk about BlackRock or
Oh, of
Vanguard,
course.
right?
They have the
These
most
guys
money.
are exactly. I mean, let's just say BlackRock, right? I mean, these
Yeah.
guys, the largest asset manager in the world. I think they manage $10 trillion, and their proprietary software, Aladdin, pretty much helps various institutions around the world manage about 20 trillion. So this is arguably the most powerful company in the world,
Right.
and they're also like pretty much part of the U.S. government. I mean, there's so many articles and things like that saying how intertwined they are with the government. So I think this is why the SEC have to approve it, because they're essentially cornered now from
Right.
all these different funds, and BlackRock being one of them.
So let's simplify this for just the crowd here. It's imagine if Lionel Messi said, "I don't like this grass." They're going to change the grass. So the goat here is BlackRock. They are calling the shots here. They have that kind of power. So just think about like if you could choose anyone for your football team like that, you are going to pick the best players out there, and BlackRock is one of the strongest. Is the strongest just because they have the most money.
That is a fantastic analogy. And of course, Bitget is sponsoring Lionel
Yes,
Messi.
the
So
goat.
definitely they're the GOAT, So we have that connection there. Thank
Mhm.
you for bringing that up. That is a fantastic analogy. Love it. So Dan, my next question for you is what does the the BTC ETF approval mean for institutional investors? What do you think about the ETF approval? I mean, Michael Saylor, arguably the Bitcoin GOAT, he
Yeah.
said that the BTC spot ETF may be the biggest development on Wall Street in the last 30 years. What are your thoughts on his comments?
Uh, he's right. It justifies Bitcoin as a global asset. And then this could potentially lead to more countries using Bitcoin as like real currency, and it's just it finally legitimizes all the work the community has put into to Bitcoin.
Yes, and I think there's a ton of pent up demand at this
Yeah,
point. You know, a lot of funds, they need that regulatory approval to really start coming in. And so this is not just uh, how cool, you know, in terms of, oh,
right.
there's a lot of money coming in, but also it's a nod from a regulatory body saying, okay, this is good to go. Once these funds are approved and out and running and live, that also signals to a crowd that maybe identify with digital assets being a scam or, you know,
Right.
whatever, this and that. But this really is also creates a lot of legitimacy for the asset,
Oh,
right?
absolutely. Yeah, there's lots of ways to get scammed in traditional finance. Like picking up your phone these days or answering any random text message, it's a scam. So just having that Bitcoin ETF does make it a legitimate product, but obviously there are still ways to be scammed anywhere out there.
Yes, and one point I also wanted to make, I think, is really going to open up the floodgates. Is that you know, Raul Paul actually touched on this. He said that these TradFi guys, once they start coming in and really seeing that the Bitcoin ETF is approved and it's a viable product on Wall Street, they're going to say, okay, now this signals to me that this is a legitimate product, and then they're going to start going down the crypto rabbit hole because they're going
Mhm.
to learn about Bitcoin. They're going to learn about the scarcity component of Bitcoin. They're going to learn that 70% of holders never sell. And so they're going to say, oh my goodness, this is a crazy asset. We got to start getting in. But then they're going to start learning about smart contracts, ETH, and of course, Solana and all these other amazing projects and tokens and really getting their foot, you know, in the door, so to speak. And I
Yeah.
think that's also going to be super cool.
Yeah, it's JP Morgan and Wisdom Tree. They've actually been working on a blockchain product for rebalancing portfolios. It's called Project Guardian. I'm not shilling anything. You can't really get involved with it, but I'm just saying that these traditional finance people have been using blockchain technology. They are getting ready for the launch of blockchain products to their traditional investors.
Right, right, right. Yeah, for sure. Is there anything else that you're maybe bullish on for Bitcoin or you know, kind of just digital assets in general? Just curious your thoughts.
I like real world assets. It's not exciting at all, but it serves a huge function for just having that liquidity, just simplifying things. I don't know if this is a very unique situation, but if you're ever getting a big loan or buying a home or something, the amount of paperwork you have to do and physically sign can take several hours. Um, I'm just excited for that process being simplified. I know we are going to see a lot of real world assets on chain. The liquidity is going to be there. Even things like, you know, Pokemon cards, where like you want to say you own it, you have it, but storing it is kind of dangerous. Having someone, you know, say like, hey, this is the highest grade possible, having it in a secure location where it doesn't get degraded. And yeah, there's just a lot of potential for blockchain products, blockchain services, and all of that could be fueled by this ETF.
Yes, yes. And speaking of which, actually, I have to bring it back to BlackRock again because you're
Mhm.
talking about real world assets. Of course, a lot of these have to be tokenized, right? You have to tokenize
Yes.
the assets that are in the real world. And what Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, said pretty recently, a few months ago, was that he believes everything will be tokenized in the future. And that's coming from the CEO of BlackRock. And we already mentioned how powerful BlackRock is. And so if Larry Fink said something, we all listen. And if he thinks it's going that direction, I would venture a bet that it is. So you're absolutely spot on with the real world assets. I can't wait to see how that develops and really just how easy and fluid that's going to make the digital asset world, you know, for us altogether. You know,
Mhm.
okay. So my next question, I do want to ask because everybody's really psyched up on the ETF happening and people are bullish and, you know, going all in and this and that. But of course, we have to stay grounded. We have to be aware of the risks because a lot of times people aren't so much talking about the risks, right? And so here at Bitget, we want to make sure everybody's informed. We're really paying attention to everything. So I want to ask you, what are some potential risks that you think most aren't thinking about? Like what might happen if the ETF doesn't get approved? Do you have maybe some suggestions for people here to best prepare for themselves?
I do, but no one cares. That's just what it is. When you are a new investor, you take on as much risk as possible, even though people say don't invest what you can't afford to lose. That's just what it is. Like, investing is making level-headed decisions, it's understanding the risk, the reward, and not becoming emotional. It's just, you have to be a robot. It's like, all right, what's your plan? How are you going to execute it? And it's really not about trying to get rich quick, but it's trying to build wealth over time.
Yes, absolutely true. And I think, a lot of times we have to just be more grounded, right? I mean, we've already pumped really hard the last couple
Oh
of
yeah.
months. It's always smart to take profits. You
Hmm.
never, I never regret taking profits,
Right.
even though if we keep going up, but hey, profit is profit. So I want
Absolutely.
to remind everybody to please manage your risks and don't be a moon boy, because I was a moon boy before. I've learned my lesson.
Oh, same here. Learned it many times. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. But I think also a few more risks that we can also touch on is, even though 70% of holders aren't selling in Bitcoin, there are still other whales potentially that could come into the marketplace, right? You have the Silk
Mhm.
Road, those proceedings. You have the Mt. Gox bankruptcy proceedings. Now they're starting to pay out their creditors. So, that's something we always have to pay attention as well. And of course, the biggest rug puller of them all is the Fed. Are they going to pull the liquidity from the market? That will drastically affect how crypto operates and the liquidity in there.
Actually, if they pull liquidity, that could be a good thing. Less Bitcoin available, easier to pump. So
Well, I
it's
mean,
really.
pulling liquidity from U.S. dollar terms. If you're
Oh yes,
sucking dry for the liquidity of U.S. dollars, which the Fed has the
that is
power to
true.
do,
That's true.
via their quantitative easing or quantitative tightening, depending on what they do.
Right.
That's a risk that we have to always pay attention to. But the good news is Arthur Hayes thinks that a liquidity injection should be on its
Gonna
way
happen.
because of all the debt that's accumulating around the world. It won't just be the US, but also many other jurisdictions as well.
Right. Absolutely. Just thinking of Bitcoin as a global asset. There is always the U.S. perspective, but then what I've learned is when talking to people about Bitcoin from other countries, they all have a different reason for getting involved, whether it's being early, fighting inflation, having access to usable banking. So even if the Bitcoin ETF isn't approved, I still see Bitcoin thriving internationally. We could have a lot of volatility coming up soon, but long term, it's just been growing.
I could not agree more. I think this ETF, I honestly think the consensus is it's a done deal. It's not a matter of yes or
Yeah.
no. It's a matter of when, right?
Right. Right.
At this point, all these big funds, they've already are making moves just to suggest that it is already a done deal, right? Um, so again, who knows what's going to happen in the short term? But I think long term, it's a very net positive for Bitcoin with the adoption.
Oh, absolutely. I really don't see how they can keep delaying this longer with people asking, like, when is this going to get approved? Just imagine you're in that position. Like, CH, when is it going to get approved? Like, you have the power to approve this right now. If you're going to deny it, you better have a very good reason,
Very good reason,
right?
right? I mean, a lot of this is political. I feel like. Oh, my
Mhm.
camera just went out. Excuse me, guys. But yeah, so I think a lot of this is political. But I'm glad that it's now coming to terms. A lot of good things are happening. It's a very bullish year. Of course, we also have the halving coming up
Right.
in April. For me personally, I don't think it's so much the supply. I think that's going to be a shock, yes, but 3% to 1.5%. The cut is, I feel like, not as crazy as the memes, the
Right.
all the headlines that are going to be coming out. It's the eyeballs, the attention that will be coming on for the halving itself, the cultural move that I think
Right.
will garner a lot more attention.
Yeah. And then after going through a 2-year bear market, this bull cycle is kind of just starting off still. So even though we had a recent pullback, you should be watching the crypto markets.
Absolutely. And, we're not even close to all-time high yet. So there's still a
Right.
lot of room to run. And I think actually inflation adjusted, we're still about halfway for Bitcoin. Inflation
Mhm.
adjusted. I know
Right.
in dollar terms, we're, definitely more than 50%, but from what I read is inflation adjusted, it is that way. So still a lot of room to run. Hopefully we'll see new all-time highs this year. Yeah. And so next, I actually wanted to pick your brain. You are quite the altcoin expert. So I wanted to hear your thoughts. Of
No,
course.
no, no.
But again, not
That's a
financial
huge
advice.
liability, not financial advice. There we go. Now I can say anything.
As long as we say that, just kind of see where you're into. But of course, many altcoins have been blazing upward
Right.
towards the end of 2023. It's been really volatile this year, but let's just say it has been going upwards. Solana and AVAX and Injective, all these different tokens have been pumping like crazy.
Right.
Of course, because of the airdrops, that's one component. The BRC20 ecosystem has been going crazy. What are your thoughts on the altcoin market in 2024? I wanted to hear like what you're really paying attention to, what you're bullish on, and really what you want people to know.
So I've been following along with like all these blockchains, like what's pumping, what pumps after that, and it really depends on the situation. Like Solana got a lot of attention from the meme coins and the airdrops. That brought a lot of users to the ecosystem to start using it, and that just kind of was like a self-fulfilling prophecy as more money kept flowing into it. Now, other blockchains have been doing something else by announcing like an ecosystem fund where it might be a lot of coins, and then the coin price goes up, which means their ecosystem fund got even higher. So then more money starts flowing in. So you kind of have to follow these blockchains. Like even if you miss the pump, if you look into their ecosystem, that can create a lot of different opportunities. So for myself, I'm looking at what blockchain is pumping. That's Solana, AVAX, whatever it may be. And then you look at the decentralized applications in those ecosystem, because you could get potential airdrops for tokenless projects there. You could, because money is going to start flowing in from, that blockchain coin like Sol or AVAX into the ecosystem. And that is just a classic case of people wanting to gamble, get involved, take on more risk. So that's what I've been following. I've actually been excited for some alternative blockchains. I don't know if I can kind of shield them here. Is that no, not financial advice? All right. So I'm looking at things that are very different. There's a lot of things that are EVM compatible, that do their own thing. But some of the blockchains that aren't EVM compatible are very exciting with what they're building, how they're processing transactions, how they are redefining DeFi and like the user experience. So a few of those are the blockchains using the Move programming language. That's Aptos, Sui. I know don't worry about the coin price, but I think getting involved in using those ecosystems are pretty exciting. I just started using ICP, and I was really surprised with how the wallet works and how it binds to my computer, and I can use facial recognition or my computer pin to unlock my wallet. There's just like a lot of different exciting things being built out there. You just have to take the time to dive in, be able to open yourself up to learn something new and experience it.
So what do you think is the best way for people to get involved with what you just mentioned, right? How do they educate themselves? How do they best prepare themselves? And of course, managing risk, right? I mean, a lot of times,
right,
you got to have really good hygiene, wallet hygiene, or whatever other endeavors that you have to really put yourself through to stay on top of it.
Oh, absolutely. There's no way like a new person can start diving into all of this. It really takes a lot of experience to dive into these blockchains, to understand what's going on, to use them safely, to protect your wallet. So it's really just about building up your experience in DeFi. So you just really have to learn as much as possible, get on the test nets, understand what you're doing. Like there's a lot of blockchains out there that are actually still in testnet or have testnets applications available. That just means it's like trading with fake money, where you can experience how DeFi works without any type of investment. Now, there are some projects that are still in testnet at the moment that might give you a potential airdrop for being one of their early users, and that will gain you a lot of experience. A potential airdrop, which could be valuable, and that could lead you to a learning journey into other projects.
That is a great tip, guys. You heard it here first. And again, if you're really unfamiliar, maybe just trying, like Dan said, something that is in testnet. You can go out there and literally not lose any money. You don't put any of your money down. But also, if you want to try with something that is already established, that's live, maybe just try something that you don't mind losing, right? Putting $10. Maybe trying something that has a very low gas fee type network, where you're not going to be gypped for $10 on ETH in gas fee, right? There's a lot of solutions out there that you can try it out. Just try it small, learn as you go, fail at some, get rug pulled. These things I feel like inevitable, but it just, you want to manage the amount that you risk.
Oh yeah. You're going to make a lot of mistakes, but with those smaller numbers, those lessons are worth learning for that price.
Tuition fee. That's how you got to look at it.
It's a tuition fee.
We both went to college, we pay our tuition, we learn our ways, and same thing with things in real life, right?
Yeah. Like I still make mistakes. Like everyone does. Like I sent the wrong type of USDC to the wrong contract. I'm like, what? It said USDC. Then I was like, oh, there's multiple USDC on this blockchain. I did not know that. So small steps, and you'll learn a lot along the way.
Yes. Triple check everything. Always make sure, don't click any unknown links. Even when you Google something, don't just click the first link. Always go to the official channel to go there, because these links, man, it's so crazy how much they're alike.
So you don't want to Google anything. You want to look for like the blockchain on Twitter, go to that official site, look up their ecosystem, go to that link there. There's a lot of ways to verify links, because anything in the Google ads or Google results or through Twitter could easily be a scam.
Yep, absolutely right. Okay, so Dan, we are going to wrap up momentarily here. I do have one more question for you. For anyone who is new to Bitcoin and crypto listening here, what do you think is the most important thing they need to consider if they want to win big in crypto in 2024?
I think the most important thing is to learn as much as possible, to get involved, if you don't have a lot of money and you have a lot of time, be involved in the communities. Right now, you're in the Bitget community and you could potentially win some USDT. That happens for a lot of smaller projects in different blockchains. So that's just pretty common. You got the time, you got the internet, you got the resources. Jump in. Just follow everyone on Twitter. Find out who's doing a giveaway. Join all the small communities. Join their Discords and learn as much as possible.
Fantastic tip. All right, Dan, thank you so much for taking the time. We are going to get to the quiz now. So without further ado, let's do it. I see a lot of people in the comment section. So be sure to answer these questions correctly. And of course, you need to go down to the Gleam link in the description to follow those instructions to be eligible to win. Okay, with that out of the way, Dan, let's get into it. So
all right,
the first question that we have, what does ETF stand for? Is it A, exchange traded funds, B, extra trading fund, C, exchange tools fundamentals, or D, everyone throws fisticuffs?
And remember, this is the answer I think it's going to be, not the real answer.
Yeah. So, of course, this is, I think, pretty self-explanatory. I see a lot of answers here. I think everybody's answering correctly. So congratulations to all of our winners. We will select you later on, but just keep them coming. Make sure you answer and you'll be eligible to win. Okay. Question number 2. Let's do it. Oh yeah. Of course, the answer, excuse me, forgot to say, is exchange traded funds. So yes, all those people saying, hey, you're eligible. Perfect.
All right. Looks like everyone got it right. Congratulations.
Yes. I hope so. Okay, question number 2. Who is the current chairperson at the US SEC? Is it A, Elizabeth Warren, B, Kathy Wood, C, Gary Gensler, or D, Caroline Ellison? Oh, if you see the stream, you have the answer, guys. Yeah, a little reverse there, buddy.
Yeah,
but okay.
Yeah, gotta look at the cameras.
Yeah. Don't look at the camera there, guys. All right. Yes, you are correct, guys. Congrats. It is good old Gary Gensler. All right. Next question. When is the deadline for the SEC to approve the first wave of the spot Bitcoin ETF? Guys, I mentioned this earlier in the stream. If you paid attention, you should know. Is it A, Monday, January 8th, or B, Tuesday, January 9th, or C, Wednesday, the 10th, or is it D, Thursday, the 10th? I mean, just on looking at our calendar here, you will see one of them is false. So I do see some answers here. Yes, you are correct. It is C, this Wednesday, January 10th. So, Dan, I hope we get an answer. If not, we're going to have some crazy volatility coming up. But, dry powder on the sidelines might be a good buy. I don't know. Not financial advice, but always got to repeat that like 100 million times.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, so next question. Who said a Bitcoin ETF may be the biggest development on Wall Street in the last 30 years? Is it our good old Gary Gensler? Or is it that guy from BitConnect? Or is it C, Kathy Woods? Or D, Michael Saylor? Who do you guys think? We also mentioned this earlier in the stream. We want to give away some easy to answer ones. All right, I see a bunch of different answers.
I think a great question would have been, who is that guy from BitConnect? Because one guy definitely got it right in the stream.
That's awesome. Wow. Yeah. Well, there you go. Well, this guy is the Bitcoin GOAT, as I mentioned earlier. This guy is, talk about conviction in his bet. This guy is all in on his conviction. I haven't seen anybody else as convicted as this guy in his bet.
Yeah, if Bitcoin pumps because of the spot coin ETF, they have to make a movie about this guy.
For sure. This is going to go down, I think, one of the greatest trades of all time, if not the greatest trade. I think in a decade from now, you're going to look back and look at MicroStrategy's enterprise value, just from all the coins you're holding, from where I think Bitcoin is going. I think it's just going to be phenomenal. So yes, the answer. Go ahead. What were you saying?
Oh, I was just going to say, you really have to imagine, the stress and crap he's gone through every bear market of people making fun of him, but him believing and continued buying.
Yeah, absolutely. The guys who tend to make a ton of money take on big risks, right? And he was leveraging debt to get Bitcoin, which is a crazy bet. But instead of getting washed out, this guy is up more than $1 billion at this point. So be really curious to see what happens with Bitcoin moving forward and MicroStrategy. So, all right, question 5, our last question here. All right, so roughly how many crypto-related ETFs exist around the world today? Are there none, which is A? Is there 1? Is there 50? Or is there 150, which is the selection D here? What do you guys think? We also mentioned this earlier. It's about $50 billion asset under management. So I think I already gave it away there because it's definitely not A in this case, right? Yeah. So I see some answers, different answers. Okay. Yeah. Now it's coming in. Yes, it is D. D. It's 150, guys. All right. That about concludes it for our quiz today. Congrats to all those folks who participated. Again, if you haven't, go on to the Gling link. You got to follow those instructions, and then you will be eligible to win. Dan, I want to bring you back. Are there any last remarks you'd like to share with our audience before we end the stream here today?
I hope you liked the video, you got your full value, and that you are a Bitget user.
There you go. Fantastic. Guys, again, if you haven't clicked like, please help us like that video so we can give you more of this amazing content. And of course, subscribe if you haven't already. And one last thing, make sure to go on Dan's page. Go subscribe there because there's a reason why he's called Full Value Dan. He's always giving amazing value and insights, as you can see from our stream here today. So with that being said, Dan, thank you once again for taking the time. Really, really appreciate it. That is it from us today. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.